Hey guys, what's up? Rayo here, and today I'm going to be showing you a guide on how to do Urban Battleground. Before I get started, I do want to say that if you enjoy my videos, please make sure to subscribe. You can click the subscribe button below, or you can click the link in my description, but I'm just going to go ahead and get right into it. So I'm assuming that since you're doing Fractals, you already know that you need a level 80 character. Class doesn't matter, and this is a Fractal that is in all tiers. I'm just going to be doing it on tier 1 today, and I'm just going to be taking you step by step. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. Alright, so you notice that when you get in, you're going to turn into a char. This is not changeable. This is just what happens with this fractal. There's another fractal where you turn into a Sura. That's the Thalmanova reactor fractal. So I think that's the only two, but this one you're going to be a char. This is a fractal that takes place when I guess the searing of Ascalon was happening, and if you played Guild Wars 1, then you'll know what I'm talking about. You can read up on it on the wiki, but let me just open this up and show you what the size of this fractal. So what I like to do here is divide it up into three different sections. So you have the first section right here, which is the Courtyard. There's going to be a whole bunch of veteran monsters here. Well, monsters, they're humans, like warriors, monks, and all this stuff. And then there's going to be burning oil right here, and then you have to kill Siege Master Dolphy, and then you will have to bust through the gate, which will take you into the second part of the fractal, which is just finding your route to the last part. There's only one route to take, depending on, I guess, the fractal level. I don't know if it's randomized, because I know it was randomized a while ago, but it seems every time I do this fractal on a certain level, it's always the same path almost. I could be wrong. I don't really pay that much attention to it, but you'll see when we get there. And then the last section is the boss fight with Captain Ashern, I guess is how you say it, but there's this last section has a couple phases, but we're just going to focus on phase 1 because that's where we're at right now. Now you can either go to the right or you can go to the left. I would never recommend going straight through the middle. That's where you're going to get the most aggro, and it's almost guaranteed that you're going to die. Even if you're doing this on tier 1, there's a lot of these guys, and the warriors hit really hard regardless of tier. So I'm going to go this route because it's quicker. You can go this route and get the mistlock singularity and run along and do this. It's really not too much different as long as everyone in your party is aware of what's going on. So I'm going to do this on a necromancer. I'm doing this on tier 1, so I'm going to kind of take my time. So I'll probably just speed through this part until I get to the very last section where I'm fighting the boss. Okay, you know what? Fortunately enough, there weren't really any monsters. So what I'm going to do here first is I'm going to destroy the burning oil. The reason why is if I stand under that, I am going to get annihilated by a lot of burning damage. I'm going to take constant unblockable damage. It doesn't matter. Since I'm on a necro, this can kind of be easy. I can unload conditions on one burning oil and then epi them onto the other ones, and it helps me out a little bit. And then since I have a blood fiend, it's giving me some healing every so often. All I got to do is kite around these mobs a bit. Really not all too hard, though this is really not so much a possibility in the higher tier fractals. Alright, so I'm done with the burning oil. Now I can move on to Siege Master Dolphy. So obviously you want to CC the boss when you can. CC being any sort of crowd control skills like daze, knockback. There's even soft CC like conditions such as immobilize, fear. Fear is the strongest soft condition, like that. And then I'm going to stun, and then chill is a soft condition. There's a lot of different soft conditions that you can use. So try to take that bar down when I can. Other than that, it's really just fighting the boss. Alright, so I killed the boss, and now I'm just going to take down the gate, and we'll move on to phase 2. Alright, cool. So the boss is down. Phase 1 is done. Now you can see that there are these groups of monsters spread out. And you can see kind of behind this group that there's a barricade. You see all these, like, sand sacks and, like I'm assuming sand. Like, pretty much you cannot walk through them. You can't jump over them. Now, what I need to do is I need to figure out which route is not blocked. And you can see there are a lot to choose from. So obviously I can't go this way and then that way. Obviously I couldn't go this way. It looks like I could go either around this way or through this way. If I go around this building, it's going to take me to the same spot. There's going to be an occasional ballista that just knocks you back and it's kind of annoying. There's always going to be a series of 4 or 5 monsters though, and you're going to want to down those before you even try to move on. It also looks like this path is not blocked. So what I'm going to do is take this path, because if this path was normally blocked, there'd be a barricade right here, and there is, I've run into it when I go the other way, that there's a barricade farther down. So I'm just going to trust this path. I'm going to down this group right here. Alright, so that group is done, and then I'm going to destroy this ballista over here so it stops knocking me back, because that can just make fighting the next group really annoying. And let's see. Yes, it looks like I took the right route. So I'm just going to speed up through the rest of this, because now this path is just, well, this part is just fighting mobs, killing ballistas, fighting mobs until you get to the gate. Alright, so now I'm at the gate, and you can see that there are 4 monsters, the gate, and the burning oil. You can destroy the burning oil and then the gate, but the gate honestly will go down a lot quicker than the burning oil will. And especially since I'm on a necromancer, if I do an epi, it's just going to start destroying them both, and the gate's going to go down a lot quicker. So I typically never worry about the burning oil here. I just get the gate down and I run through, because it won't hit you on the other side. And then once we get through this gate, we're going to be in the last section of the fractal. Oh, well, look at that. The burning oil went down at the same time. So I'm going to take a second to explain this part right before. So we're in this final section. So this final section has 3 parts. What you need to do is first clear the courtyard and capture it. You see this red ring all the way around it. There's all these monsters, and then in the center there are arrow carts and there are ballistas. So you need to clear that, then you need to cap it, and then once you cap it, one of these fire shaman guys that are following this guy right here, he is going to go into the center and he's going to start a ritual. And while he's doing this ritual, you're going to have groups of 3 Ascalonians rushing the center at the same time. What you need to do is you need to keep those guys off while he is doing this ritual in order to blast through the door that is between these griffin statues over here. And then that's really easy. And then after you do that, the final boss is going to happen. You just CC the boss when you can, and then you'll want to just kill him. He has a couple key attacks, which I'll get into when we get to the fight, and I'll explain them as I'm going. So this part is pretty crucial. There's a way to do this. You hide behind one of these statues. Now, I came out, you see how the arrow carts are already targeting me, as well as the ballistas. Now, depending on the route that you came in, oh, okay, gosh, these guys are rushing me. Normally you'd have to aggro these guys, but I guess they just got aggroed to this NPC right here. But what I'm trying to say is, you will come out at a section of this last area, depending on what route you took. So since I went all the way around, I came out right here at this gate right here. So sometimes, and a lot of the times, you'll come out in the center gate right here. One sec, I am about to die. Let me get these guys. And what you'll want to do though is just, if you come out in the center, just run behind till you get to this statue. If you come out closer to the other side, get behind the other statue. Getting behind a statue is very important, because then you can do something called LOS, which stands for line of sight. And what that means is all these, obviously the melee kind of warriors and all the ranged guys will not shoot through the statues, so that forces them to run around and crowd them right here if they're targeting you, which is why you want to lure them yourselves and not the NPCs, because the NPCs just run all over the place. But when you can kind of control them like that, when you're in a group, you can burst them down, just cleave them all down. really quick and it's really efficient. So since I'm soloing this, I'm going to take this a little bit at a time, which you should do anyway, even if you're with a group. And I'm just going to speed through the rest of this part. Now, I said I'd speed through the rest of this part, but since this whole other half is clear right here, this is where I typically, with elite specs, this really made it a lot easier to do stuff like this. I can kind of run to the center and kite the rest of these guys around, and just, since I'm on a necro, I can epi them. I haven't really tried to do this on any other class. Necro makes kiting stuff super easy, because whenever stuff dies, you get more life force, and then you have a couple things that give you life force. You have a lot of chill, you have a lot of condi that you can spread to people or to other monsters using this skill, Epidemic. So what I'm going to do here, epi them, and then all of the condis that were on my target went to the enemies around him. Every single one, every single stack, there's not a limit. So necros are just ridiculous in Fractals, especially just because they have so much like condi cleave, if you want to call it that. It's insane. So I'm just about done with phase 1 of the final section of this fractal. And right there, the main thing that I want to avoid is the warrior. Whenever you see him rush at me with the Great Sword 5 skill, that's when you want to kind of dodge, because that is the ability that in higher end fractals will hit. It can one-shot you depending on your class and your build. So now I'm capping the courtyard. This is when I can go and get the mistlock singularity, and then this part is very super easy. Okay, so this guy has a little defense shield above his head. All you got to do is you'll see these monsters start running in through the gates here in a second, and then I just got to keep them off the guy, and they only come in small amounts like this, for instance. So I'm just going to keep them off, and as soon as you tag them, they're going to focus all on you. So I'm just going to speed through the rest of this because it's pretty self-explanatory. Alright, so we're coming up on the end here. There's always going to be this last group that spawns that will never make it to the center because the ritual finishes. You do not have to worry about fighting those last 3. So now it's the last part of the fight. So this guy's a legendary. He does a lot of damage no matter what tier you are on. When he pulls out a fiery greatsword, that's when it gets to be the most deadly. The first part of the fight, I think it's like every 25% he'll get a little bit more difficult. The last 25%, though, is when he gets the fiery greatsword, and that's when he enrages, and he enrages like every second that he's alive, pretty much. So if you were to die, and he's still up, and he still has the fiery greatsword, he's still going to have this enrage timer, and it's going to be really hard to fight him. Now, you see this guy has a squire. This guy is really just like a shout warrior with a banner that gives this guy strength and like gives this guy boons. So if you guys are all stacking together in a party, you can cleave them down really easily. If you're a necromancer, you can just unload conditions on Captain Ashim, I guess, and then use Epi, and it'll take this guy down just fine. That, and you can lay down a whole bunch of like fields, and well, not fields, but like marks and all these different things that just hit both targets with conditions. So this really isn't an incredibly difficult fight. Just in the higher level that you do, just really watch out for being in front of him, because this guy's normally not alive, this NPC. He's really taking all the hit right here. This is a important attack to avoid. This hits really hard, this meteor storm. So avoid that whenever you can. This fire field, avoid that. Like if you're standing in it, just move out. All of this guy's special attacks hit pretty freaking hard. So you just want to avoid everything that you can and CC him when you can. I don't even have my golem out. There we go. So it's pretty straightforward up until you get to 25%. So when he gets to 25% here in a second, he is going to get enraged and pull out a fiery greatsword, and then he's going to be acting like one of those Ascalonian warriors. And he's going to be charging at me, it's going to be hard to really run away from him. I kind of butchered that. All right. When he says, "I will never surrender," that's when he starts enraging, or that's when he starts getting tougher. He still has his staff, though. There we go. He's got the fiery greatsword, and this is where he starts going ham. So just avoid him when you can. Just kite him around if you can. Like, look at that. He only hit me with 2 hits of the whirlwind attack, and it hit 8k on me. And this is level 1. This is the easiest Urban Battleground Fractal, and it still hit that hard on me. There we go. Luckily, this guy has low health, so it's a little easier. Oh my gosh. There we go. That was super close. Oh wow, and even look at that. Level 1, I got a Magi's light chest. So that's really all there is to the Fractal. Now, before I just zone out, I'll just finish it up here. That's really all there was to it. There was section 1 where you just kill some mobs, you kill the burning oil, kill the gate, and then you go through. And then this today, how do I draw on here we go. Draw on the map. I went this way. Now sometimes you can go this way and then you have to go that way. Other times you can just go straight right there. That's the quickest one. Other times you go this way or this way. So there's all these different routes that you can take, and it'll really depend on where those barricades are. And then once you're through there, you get through the gate no matter where you are. There's a statue right here and there's a statue right there. So you want to kind of get behind one of these statues depending on where you came out of. Obviously, if you're over here, don't bother running all the way over here. Just go to the statue. And then all these mobs that are in the center with the ballistas and the arrow carts, you want to LOS them. And once again, that means line of sight. So you want to pull these, you want to get the aggro of these monsters and pull them around so that way they just kind of filter into you one by one or kind of in a clump, so you can cleave them down while you're stacking. You can unload all these conditions on them. The Necros can use Epi. Like, Necros are one of the best classes for, like, 100% success in Fractals, because Epidemic is super strong and it's on a low cooldown. So if you have Condi classes in your party, it just really helps to AoE cleave Condi. However you want to look at it, it just is very easy to Condi burst everything down really quick, especially in this Fractal because there's so many monsters. And then after you do that, there is the capping of the Courtyard. And once you cap the Courtyard, which is really easy, like, this is where people can go get some water as long as, like, one person's clearing the mobs. But, I mean, I don't recommend leaving your party hanging like that. You can fight the boss, which is just really straightforward. CC when you can, and then watch out at 25%. He'll pull out the fiery greatsword, and he starts doing a lot of damage, and he starts attacking a lot more frequently. So just kind of watch out for that. Now, those are the core mechanics that are really consistent throughout all the tiers. Now, towards the end, I was starting to die, and I'm on tier 1, and I don't have any sort of mistlock instabilities, and this is literally level 1. Kind of keep in mind that if you're doing this at tier 2 or tier 3 or especially tier 4, there's going to be not only 1, these guys will hit harder throughout the Fractal, but 2, you're going to have something called mistlock instabilities, which can range to many different things, and one that really sucks in my opinion. Oh, here, let me just do the one that everyone hates. It's called Toxic Trail. What that means is, whenever an enemy is in combat, you'll see this green pool below their feet that will hurt you for a decent amount of damage, and that'll also inflict poison on you, which is, it's tough to really get into close melee range without getting hit with this thing, though it is possible. But it makes it tough for DPS classes to really, especially if you're like a thief or something, to really get in there and melee cleave all these monsters while you have these pools of poison right below your feet, because thieves down really easily, and even if you're on a guard or a revenant, this Toxic Trail hits really hard. So keep in mind that there's all these different mistlock instabilities that make what I just did harder, on top of when the level of the Fractal gets harder, the monsters hit harder, the bosses hit harder. So there's just things to keep in mind. So if you saw my intro video, I recommended that using a build that is beneficial to not only you but your party is very efficient, because obviously you want to hold your own weight and keep yourself alive, but you also want to be doing enough damage to get rid of the monsters as quick as possible to get them off your team's back and also off your back. So kind of keep that in mind when you're going higher through the levels of fractals. That's really all there is to the video. If you guys liked it, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below letting me know what you think, whether it's good or bad. I'm open to hearing whatever you have to say. If you like more, if you would want to see more of these videos, then please make sure to subscribe. You can kind of see the bubble of my icon on the screen here pretty soon, if not already. And then you can also see a playlist to the Fractals of the Mist playlist that I'm making. It's a series that I'm doing explaining all the different fractal levels and how to do their mechanics. So once again, if you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys in the next video.